Hey, it's your buddy Mark here, and you're tuning in to session number 27 of the Epic Personal Trainer podcast. Now, this session today is directed a little bit more towards the freelance trainers that are out there, and maybe even those of you that own your own studio or facility. And that's because today I'm going to give you a few ideas about how to package and present your personal training services. So, what do I mean by the way you package things? Well, this is basically what you would call your offer. It is what you are going to provide to a client for how long, with the cost and the payment terms all included. So, for example, the first way that many trainers package their personal training is by offering block sessions. So, this is say like 12 sessions a month or maybe over 6 weeks for X amount of money. You can also create an offer that's say 8 sessions over 8 weeks or 36 sessions that are delivered over 3 months. It's completely up to you. Now, I would say that the majority of trainers use this kind of package and positioning. And one benefit of this method includes the fact that it's nice and easy, it's simple to understand. But there can be a whole lot of options that are there, and that might lead to a potential client into this decision fatigue. It's where there's so many options available to them that they find it hard to decide on which one is best for them. Now, when this happens, a lot of people will just avoid making a decision and go away. So you're left with nothing and you miss out on that potential client. So always have one clear option that is maybe going to be a good fit for them. It all shows that if you confuse, you lose. Another potential issue with this kind of method is that you have to set some clear boundaries around expiry dates. To start with, when you present this type of package, it can easily look like you are charging only for sessions. Now, this isn't a great idea, as we all know that when you work for a client, there is a lot that goes on outside of your session time for that client. You put work into the programs, the nutrition, the assessments or check-ins that can all be done outside of session times. Sometimes with clients, they might have health issues or injuries that you need to research or talk with their doctors, to figure out what the best path for them is. So the problem comes when, say, they miss a couple of sessions and then they want to get those sessions because, the way you've explained it to them means that in their mind, they're only paying for sessions. So what you end up in is a situation where your 12 sessions are maybe spread over 2 months instead of one. That means that your effective hourly rate has just dropped by 50%, right? So that isn't great. And what if for some reason you need to give a refund? Maybe you've done 3 sessions plus all this work, researching, programming for training and nutrition, but because you sold them only on sessions, they're expecting a refund for 9. So all that extra work outside of the sessions, you're not going to get paid for. It's also not great. So my advice is do not sell sessions. You need to sell the service that you provide as a whole, all things together. And you need to be clear about this when you explain your services and pricing. Now, moving on. Another way that a lot of trainers package their service is to bundle everything up over a certain period of time. So a lot of transformation trainers do this. They might sell a 3-month transformation package. And this is a much better way of doing things as there's a lot more clarity over how the package is going to work. And you can easily sell a variety of packages based on your ideal client. It doesn't have to be just transformations. So some trainers might sell a 3-month postnatal package, others a 10K running package or a marathon package, or even like a beginner runner's package. You can have an 8-week improve your bench press or squat or deadlift package, or maybe even a 6-week shoulder rehab package. There's so many possibilities based on you, your knowledge, your skills, and who your ideal client is. Now, the great thing about these types of packages is there's a definitive start and end date, which is really important. But even more important is that it's sold as a full package rather than sessions. Clients are clear on the fact that the package includes, X amount of sessions or check-ins, and that there is a schedule for when they're going to happen. And clients know that sessions are just one part of the package that they're buying, not just the only thing that they're buying. Now, the downside to this way of doing things is that it can be really hard to resell to a client once the package is finished. So this means that your lifetime value for each client might be restricted to only the duration of your first package, which means you're missing out and potentially leaving money on the table. If the first thing you have is a 6-week shoulder rehab package, then that lifetime value might be restricted to only 6 weeks. So if you go down this route, try and have a next thing that you can sell to the client. Once a package is completed, what is the next useful thing that would help that client, that you can help create and sell to them? So for example, just now I mentioned a runner's 10K package. So when someone finishes that and runs their 10K, maybe the next thing that you can offer them is the marathon package. This can be a larger offer that is more expensive, and that's okay because training for a marathon takes a much longer time and is more involved than running just a 10K package. You've already earned your client's trust. You've already shown that you can help them and you've proven your expertise. So it's a lot easier to sell to a person that has already bought from you than to find new people to sell to, so long as you did a good job the first time round. Now, another way to position your personal training packages is to sell monthly packages where everything is clearly listed, just like a transformation package, and people are this time on automatic payment systems. This way you can be clear with the client that a time slot is put aside for them and that they need to show up for sessions consistently to make the most out of that package. And if they don't come, they miss out. If they come for all 12 sessions, for example, then it's a win-win for both of you. And if they don't, well, that payment comes out automatically at the beginning of each month regardless. Now, the great thing with this is that there's no payment gap between renewals, which helps you predict your income better and can give you a lot of confidence and peace of mind. Now, auto payments are a great way to go. As a trainer, you will always keep that specific slot on your calendar aside for a client. You always have it available for them. So if they do not come, and especially if they don't come consistently to sessions, then there's this kind of opportunity cost to that you're not earning money, especially if that slot is at a peak time. So auto payments can make it really easy for you to cover those costs. Now, there are different ways you can set up these recurring payments. A certain personal training software will have it kind of built into their system, into their program, and things can be set up really easily. But that sometimes will depend on the country you live in as to how well it works or even if it will work at all. You can set up payment merchant accounts with your local payment processors. So like here in India, there's a very big one called Razorpay. There's also options for Stripe and PayPal, and those work in hundreds of countries together. People can even set up standing orders through net banking if needed. I think that's available also in most countries. Now, using net banking or local processors is probably going to be the most reliable way to set recurring payments up. I know each month, my recurring payments that are for maybe US-based service providers, they often fail, and then you have to go in manually and redo it all again. So once a local payment processor is set up, it's going to generally be a lot more reliable, and it's also going to have the least level of resistance for your client. You can get a payment link that you can send to your client over WhatsApp or email to make easy payment and get things set up straight away. You can even get a small snippet of code that can be embedded on your website, which will then fully automate the entire process. Now, the major benefits of this is that when a client has an automatic payment set up, they really do take things a lot more seriously. They're generally going to be more consistent with their sessions, they get better results, and they're just generally overall better clients. They value your time more and you a lot more. And you know that payments are coming on time and without hassle. I know a lot of you hate having that conversation with clients asking for renewal fees. So that can be completely eliminated from your business when you work this way. Now, however you decide on how you're going to package your services, there are a few things that you should always keep in mind and make sure that you do. The first thing is to be clear when you're doing your selling is that you are selling a service and not sessions. I can't say it enough times. Make sure that you explain your package in a way that no client can misunderstand you in this respect. It really will help you reduce all those things that we talked about earlier. It also adds a lot of value to what you're offering when people know they're getting more than sessions. And when people see more value in what they might buy, they're far more likely to buy it. Now, next up, keep in mind that you can have more than one package which are at different price points. So maybe you have a 4 times a month package, a 12 times a month package, and a 20 times a month package. Now, sometimes trainers might call this, a bronze package, a silver, and a gold package, or something like that. By doing this, you can help people with their training at a budget and a kind of commitment level that suits them. Some might go for 4 times in a month, some might go for 20. Maybe instead of 4 times a month at the lower end, instead you have like an online service that is a lower price point. So by having these options when you're talking to a potential client, you can help sign up more people because you have things that fit more people. But remember not to give too many options so you can avoid that confusion that we talked about earlier. Like having 3 options is generally considered the best in most cases. When you have 3 options, most people will choose that middle option. So in this case, that would be, say, a 12 times a month option. Now, the middle option should always be your main offering, the one that you want to sell the most, the one you want people to buy the most. This because many people will avoid the most expensive as it carries the most risk and they don't want to waste their money, or they're afraid to waste their money. And they also avoid the lowest as they don't want something cheap and, something cheap that might not be enough to get them what they want. It's this weird psychological thing that happens called the center stage effect. It's where people choose the middle option as it's seen as the safest option, since the lowest and highest choices are the extremes. The middle option is where most people live. Think of the typical bell curve graph that most people, for any kind of given thing, are all in the middle. And, only the outliers are outside on the extremes. There are not that many of them. So again, there is this feeling of safety in the middle. It's less risky and it's what most people are or would choose to do. So the middle is safe, the middle is comfortable, and that's why most people choose it. Now, there is also this other effect, which is called price anchoring. So let's say you just show 12 times a month package and nothing else. A lot of people won't take that as it might seem expensive to them. But when that 12 times a month package is shown alongside a more expensive 20 times a month package, then all of a sudden that price will seem a lot more reasonable as you've anchored it against your first price at 20 times a month. So the same people that may have refused to sign up when showing just 12 times a month on its own, they might happily now pay up for the exact same package at the exact same price, now compared to a larger 20 times a month package. It's strange how the mind works, but that's how it works. So even if nobody ever takes that 20 times a month package, it will play a big role in you selling more of your core 12 times a month offer, which is the one in the middle and one you kind of really want them to take. All right, so there you go. 3 different packages you can use for your personal training business, but also some great tips on how you can show and present your different packages at different levels to help more people and get more clients. And you never know, if people start to take your 20 times a month package, all the better. All right, so that's it for today. But I have something to ask. I need your help. I need you to help grow this podcast and reach as many trainers as possible. Trainers just like you, great people that want some great advice. So if this session today has helped you, please send it to just one other trainer that you know that might benefit from hearing it. Send them a link, reshare it on social media, like any way that it can reach them. And if you do share it on social, don't forget to tag me. My Instagram handle is @MarkDevaney. That way I can reshare it and say a big thank you to you. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks for listening right to the end. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next week.